Hello, welcome to Catholic Teacher Resources, your venue for innovative and creative resources for all subject areas within our faith-based classrooms. All right, now that we have an idea as to what BrainPOP's about, now we can get into a little more depth with an educator account and focusing on MyBrainPOP services. So in order to get access to that, you would come here to BrainPOP and then you would go right here to where it says enter code. And the code you're going to enter is unique to your school site. And if you don't have access to that code, please let me know, email me, call me. I can easily give it to you anytime. So let's just kind of go through an example of what this would look like. So you would go ahead and type in your code. And it would recognize that code as being part of a unique school, and it would ask you to register. You go ahead, you type in your first name, your last name, email, give yourself a unique username and password. My big recommendation is to use something that you're already using, something that ideally you're using with multiple vendors, multiple resources. So maybe your CTR account will be a great idea. Go ahead and click these boxes and then click create account. Once you do that, it's going to send you an email that you're going to need to verify. So just go from here straight to your email and refresh your email, and that email should be right there at the top. It'll happen right away. Go ahead and click the link. That'll verify your account. Once your account has been verified, it's going to bring you back here to this main page. Now it's going to default to the page you're already logged into because you came to the BrainPOP site from our CTR website. And if you look up here in the upper right hand corner, this is CTN. This is the CTN BA account, and that stands for Catholic Telemedia Network Bay Area, and that's all of us logging in together. So there's about 150 schools, and so we're all logging in together under this account. But if we want to get access to your educator account, we got to get out of this account first. So we're going to come up here and we're going to go to log out. Go ahead and hit that. And then go ahead and log in with, come back up here, hit log in. Log in with the username and password you just created on the previous registration page. But then go ahead and hit log in. And now we're going to see what an educator account gives us. So right away we see in the upper left-hand corner, we see these three tabs that were not there before. Now notice what's not different. What's not different is all the content. All of the content is exactly the same. So like if you come here in science and you see all these different categories here, and then you open up a category and you see all these different individual pieces of content, all of this is exactly the same. So just to be really, really clear, none of the content is changing in BrainPOP, whether you're in the generic CTN account or whether you're in your own educator account. The difference between the two are the extra features you get. So when you create an educator account, you get extra features. So we're going to go over each one. The most popular feature is the My Classes feature, because what that does is that allows you to give your kids, the students in your class, access to BrainPOP 24/7, 365. So the way that that works is when you hit My Classes, I think initially it's going to ask you to go through like a little tour of My Classes, and feel free to do that. Or I think there's a little link that'll say skip this, and so you're welcome to do that as well. Then in order to create a class, you're going to come up here to this green bar, which for you it should be blank. And then you're going to hit where it says new class. And then you're going to go ahead and give your class any name you want. The class name doesn't really matter. The class code does though. So the class code is something that your students will be typing in. So my recommendation is if you have little guys, we're talking first graders, kindergartners, I recommend something very easy. That way, they'll be able to type it in on their own. And then you're going to hit create class. Oh, this code's been taken. Let's try a 4-5 at the end. And I've already done this example. There we go. Oh, that's been taken too. How about ABCD? Okay. Oh my gosh, that's been taken too. Let's try it again. Wait. All right, there we go. There's my class code, which turned out to be a little bit more difficult than I would like. But let's pretend that we have a yellow bouncy ball in our room, right? Maybe we just put the word yellow, or we use the word ball or something like that. So you can come up with creative ways to help our younger students. For the upper grade kids, you could do something fun. Science rocks, math is so cool, English is the way to go, or whatever. Okay, once you get here, now it tells you to have your students, in order for your students to be part of this class, because this is how they're going to get access, right? In order for your students to be part of this class, they have to go to BrainPOP. So what I recommend is get all your students on an individual device, whether that's an iPad through the BrainPOP app, or just using Safari on an iPad, or some sort of tablet or laptop or desktop. Get them on an individual device. Have everybody in the class go to brainpop.com. Once they're at brainpop.com, have them go to right here where it says enter code. Have them go there, and then the code they're going to be entering is this right here, the one you created for them. When they enter that code in, it'll say, oh, welcome to so-and-so's class. And then it'll ask them to fill out a very basic registration page. No email is needed. It's just going to ask them for first name, last name. It's going to ask them to pick a picture. It's going to ask them to answer a question like, what color are your kitchen walls, or something like that. And then they are going to put in their username and their password. Now, big recommendation is to force the kids to use a username and password they're already using. For example, I have had the most success when teachers tell their students to use their Mathletics usernames and passwords. Why? That's because they're very unique with the numbers and the letters. And because of that, they almost always get accepted on other devices, in other resources. So I always recommend using the Mathletics in different places, the Mathletics login. Okay, once they type that in, and again, my recommendation is to tell the whole class to do the same thing. That way, when one kid forgets their username and password, everybody knows, oh, well, it's your Google login. Oh, well, it's your Mathletics login. Don't forget, it's your blank login. So that way everybody knows, right? Okay, once they do that, once the kids fill out that form, they immediately get access, and that's it. From that point on, they have access until you kick them out of the program. What are you going to see once you give them access? Okay, let me show you. I have one little pretend class right here. Okay, first thing is it's going to set up in timeline view. And what that does is it just kind of lets you know what the kids are doing. It's very kind of big brother, right? So it lets you know how the kids are doing on these quizzes, what it is they're doing, and how often they're doing them, right? So we can see that this child played this game twice, and it tells you the times and everything. Spreadsheet view is going to be more like your grade book. So when you ask the kids to complete something, whether that's any activity or a game or a quiz, it's going to be logged in here. And those scores are going to be listed. Notice I have an initial score, right? I have an initial score because kids can take the tests, these little quizzes, more than once. And when they do, it's going to show you the different scores, but it is nice that it will label them initial. So that way you know how the kid initially did. Notice you can also export this. So if you wanted to import it into a different grading system, you could easily, right? Because it's going to export as like an Excel file. Okay, this Manage Class button, if I open that up, notice it says my class is locked. So what that means is when I made this class, the class code was Hola123, meaning that that's what my students had to type in. So if right now a kid were to type that in, the system would not let them in, right? Because it says my class is locked. But let's just pretend I got a new kid tomorrow. If I did, I would just unlock it, and then it'll say, oh, it will automatically lock again on March 22nd. And so now kids can go ahead and type that in, and they can enter into my class. Okay, that's what my classes is about. It's just about getting kids access, seeing what they're doing in timeline, and checking their progress, checking their status on individual assignments in Spreadsheet. Assignments are for things that you assigned in the system, right? So you can see here are some different quizzes and activities that I've assigned. So now how does that work? So notice I have a movie here. So let's go back to BrainPOP. I'm going to click this BrainPOP button here. And let's go to Arts and Music. All right, let's do famous artists. Frida Kahlo. All right, so now here we are. Now notice when I scroll to the bottom, what we didn't see in the previous movie, which was just the overview tutorial that we did, notice this new button right here where it says Assign Movie. So what that means is now, instead of telling my students, okay guys, everybody go to Arts and Music, then everybody go to famous artists, right? Instead of kind of having them go through that, I can simply click this button, Assign Movie, and I can choose my class, or I can assign it to only specific kids, like maybe only Andrea gets it because Sophia doesn't need to do it. There's a due date, and then I assign it, and that's it. So that's how the Assign Movie feature works. But if I scroll up, notice what's also here that wasn't there from the original tutorial. Make a movie. This is a feature that only shows up when you have created your own individual educator account. So when I click this, what the kids are going to be allowed to do is create their own movie using a lot of kind of the framework that BrainPOP does. So notice there's a letter to start out, right? Because all the BrainPOP movies start out with a letter to Tim and Moby. Or you can write your own. Then they're going to, you can assign this to the kids. You could start it with a letter. Okay, so how did the Mexican Revolution inspire Frida Kahlo? Okay, let's pretend you have the kids do this one. Notice what's happening up here. It's very drag and drop, so the kids are going to be used to this. They can drag and drop an image, and then they can write along text. And then as they're doing that, right, these would continue to build up. And they can add sound, so they can add in their own voice or a computer voice to whatever caption they put under each picture. They can annotate these things, right? Maybe give her a thought bubble here. And they can draw their own. So if they wanted to maybe make, a hill in the background or something, or a house. Ooh, that wasn't too good of a house, but you get the idea. The point is that they can draw it themselves. Okay, so that is a really awesome feature. So now let me go back. I'm sorry. Notice the save button. Again, that's not there when you don't have your own individual educator account. So kids can work on this, over the course of a week, or maybe it's the end of a unit and you want to see what it is they know and they're trying to show you what they know. And so they're saving it little by little over time. Okay, I'm going to come back here. Let me also show you something different. Let me go into science this time. Let's do forces of nature and droughts, right? We're in California. Okay. Note, I'm going to go under activities because I want you to see something else that is new and different. And in addition, when you have an educator account. If I scroll down here, notice I can also assign these now. Okay, on the student side, the button they're going to have is Submit to Teacher. And now all of these activities, no matter if they're these kind of handout type activities, whether it's a quiz, a make a map, all of these, whatever they do, there's going to be now a Submit to Teacher so that they can digitally submit all of this content to you. Okay, that's basically anytime I assign something, that's going to go here under this Assignments tab. Okay, Quiz Mixer. This is a really cool feature because what it allows you to do is make your own quizzes for whatever content you want. But the best part to me is that you can use questions that have already been inputted into the BrainPOP system, either by BrainPOP itself or by other teachers using the resource just like yourself. So let's kind of go through what that looks like. So I'm going to create a new quiz. Let's pretend my working title is Chapter 4 because that was a chapter that we just finished and maybe I'm aligning this to my math textbook. And let's say that this quiz is going to be about fractions. So now I hit create my quiz. So notice what happens. It immediately kind of defaults to the search tab. And notice I can have multiple searches, right? So maybe I have the first part of my quiz about fractions and the second part of my quiz about decimals. So then I can type in decimals and do a new search here. But I can go through, okay, and I could say, oh, that's exactly what I was going to put in my quiz. Perfect. I can just hit that plus button. I can go through and say, oh, yes, I wanted that question. Perfect. I keep going through, and I can go through multiple quizzes. I keep going through, and I go ahead and plus button any question that I would like added to my quiz. Then if I wanted something specific that I'm not really seeing, I can go to the right tab and I can write in my own question. I can upload an image if I want. I can have different types of questions here. And then I can add this to my quiz as well. Everything that I've been adding, whether I write it myself or I search for it, is going to be added up here. And I can move things around, right? Maybe I want one question first or something. Once I do that and I'm done, let's say I have a 5-6 question quiz and now I'm done, I scroll to the bottom and I hit this finalize button. You can do random order or not, review versus graded. Here's a little, so in review, students progress only when they have correctly answered the question. Graded means students only get one chance to answer and they don't know if it's wrong right away. They won't know until the end. Students' choices, basically you're going to allow the student to pick whether they want review or graded. Okay, I'm going to share with educators or not. I'm not going to do that because this is just a pretend, so I'm not going to select that. And I'm going to randomize and I want it graded. Go ahead and just hit this auto generate button. You're not going to use it, but just click it and then hit publish. Okay, once it's published, yes, I can give this link to my kids, but there's no need. And why is there no need? Because now I can assign it to my class. This new quiz mixer feature allows you to now assign it. So now my students are going to get this directly in their accounts. I go ahead and I pick a class. I have to pick a class where there are students. Or I can assign it to only specific kids. Pretend this was a review quiz. Maybe I just went over fractions in a small group with 4 kids who were struggling with it. And so now I just sent this kind of review quiz to just these 4. I can go ahead and do that. And I get the due date and then I click assign and those kids will have it. Okay, so here are all the quizzes I've already made. Another thing you can do is, let's pretend you don't want to digitally do anything. You want to print it. You can do that as well. So let's pretend I'm back on that chapter 4. I can open it up with you pressing this little arrow and then this little print icon, I can print the whole thing. I can also, let's pretend a year goes by and I'm ready to do chapter 4 again for next year's class. I can assign it again, right? Because all the quizzes I've made are here. So I can reassign them anytime I want. Okay, let's go back out to BrainPOP. So that's the quiz mixer. So the quiz mixer, make your own quizzes digitally or print them out. And of course, when you digitally send those to your students, the system will grade them for you and put them right back into the spreadsheet section of My Classes. So that's it. That's basically what you get when you make an educator account. You get extra services, and those services are called MyBrainPOP resources. So again, just to clarify, that content in BrainPOP is not changing. All of the content is exactly the same. The difference is you're getting access to MyBrainPOP resources, access for your kids, so that your kids can access 24/7, 365 days a year until you kick them out of the class. And then you also get access to extra features for the kids. That's it for our tutorial today. If you have any questions about this tutorial, our site, or resources, feel free to contact us by email or phone. Thank you, and God bless.